Awesome. We are being live streamed. Hello, everyone. My name is the very tired Emma Shapiro, and I am here with Christina. We are really excited to talk about side hustles today and help you choose, what's the best fit for you, and to help you feel okay with pivoting your side hustle, with changing your side hustle, just being flexible with what is out there. We're just going to show you a bunch of different ideas. We want you to interact though. So please, if you have any questions about a side hustle, put it in the chat if you are live or on the replay. If you are interested in something that we didn't go over, because there's a lot of side hustles out there. I'm not going to say that this is every single side hustle in the world. So if you see something that I've missed, put it in the chat as well. We are here for you, and we love to communicate. We love to ask and get personal feedback and help give you personal advice. So anything you need, take advantage of this live. Let's see, I'm excited to go over side hustles. What about you, Christina?
Oh, definitely. Thanks for having me too here, Emma. I'm so excited to speak about this because that's actually, I think, where you can often reignite when you're feeling exhausted in what you're doing or truly that burnout. And I think we've seen that a lot on the AHC platform, is just everyone's talking about burnout lately. So hopefully this is going to be an area and a refreshment for you tonight as you're thinking about different aspects and avenues to take on side hustles. And sometimes, like we just talked about, side hustles can eventually become main hustles too. So they can go in either direction, or as Emma has said, we can pivot and try something new. So this is where we help you create that avenue and that new journey, and hopefully helping you all feel less burnt out and more refreshed. So
yes. And who's burnt out? Let me know in the comments who's feeling burnt out. Yeah. It's okay. I'm going to fully admit right now, I'm burnt to the crisp. I'm like a little burnt crisp hanging on by a little thread.
You singed.
Exactly. I'm very singed. This PowerPoint I'm going to go over today with me and Christina is for hopefully everyone. There's going to be a little bit for everyone. We're going to talk about side hustles that you can do yourself at first. And then we're going to talk about side hustles that you can do with companies at the back end, because I fully understand that some of you do not want to start your own business. Do not worry. When I first did this, I was in your same boat. I didn't want to start my own business. I wanted to dip my toe into earning a little bit more money, helping to pay off my student loans, and just figuring out my skills and what I liked and what I didn't like. So be patient. If you're on the replay and you want to see something, just fast forward. And if you're live, well, thank you. Hang tight with us. Or you can come back on the replay and fast forward. Okay, so the first side hustle I'm going to talk about is ergonomics. And I know some of you know that I talk about this, and I maybe talk about it too much, but it's because I really love it for all sorts of professionals. It's mostly for physical therapists, physical therapist assistants, occupational therapists, and occupational therapist assistants, ATCs as well. Now, speech therapists, I apologize. You can do ergonomics. It's just maybe a little bit harder because they are looking for someone who does have more of a injury prevention, workplace safety background, but it doesn't mean that you couldn't do this. You could get, some certifications to help, just boost up your medical background as well. But it's just a little bit more. And
I also think that, experience does play a role in that. So if you've ever been an experienced SLP, or you have a wide variety of different settings, you've done falls prevention courses or anything like that with a PT on a cognitive level, I think that gives you one leg up on that side too.
Yes, no, that's a great point. Exactly. Don't ever, just because you don't see your profession, not apply, because you still may have the background and experience. Off camera, we were talking about that, how, my background of special education, of tennis, helps me with all of this. Christina's background helps her with all the things that she does. So your background can break barriers as well. What education do you need for this? So luckily, no extra education. In all of these I'm going to talk about, you do not need any extra education. I put them here because of that. I don't really want to fool around with giving you things that you need extra education for. I don't think it's worth your time and money. Now, certifications are a bit preferred for ergonomics just because they want to see that you have sort of more specialized education. You can get away with not having the certifications, but I do feel like it helps. So at Alternative Healthcare Careers, we have a certification for you. I'm extremely, extremely proud of it. We also, the back school is also an amazing certification program as well. So the pros to ergonomics is no extra education. It's similar pay. So Amy, you're a PT assistant on here. I would take a look at this. It's similar pay. You don't really deal with insurance, especially as an assistant. You won't be dealing with that. The only insurance you would be dealing with is like occasional workers' comp, but that's only for PTs and OTs. So occasional insurance, but that depends on sort of the role that you're being hired for. Ergonomics is more about prevention. That's why you don't deal with insurance. So for the most part, within your company, usually they're hiring you to be workplace injury safety and prevention experts, going and doing webinars on ergonomics, on posture, on tables, chairs, desk, how to sit, taking breaks, injury prevention, such as nerve glides and different movements to help prevent carpal tunnel and other injuries. You'll be looking over, if you're industrial, you'll be looking over different factories and trying to see what can be better to prevent an injury from happening. Or an injury does happen, well, then they get you there to take a look at how did this happen and how can we make sure it doesn't happen again. A minimal physical labor. So you're mostly doing education with more wellness side. So you may do some, like Dr. Matt Jeffs, who's our amazing speaker in our certification program. He is a renowned public speaker and has had decades of experience in ergonomics. He's a global speaker, actually. He talks about how for wellness, you're mostly going to be doing like massage and just teaching on hydration, on taking breaks, and maybe showing them some very simple exercises. So it's sort of like a health coach for wellness, but it's ergonomics. You get to help people. So it's really up your alley with helping people, getting that reward, and it pairs really well with your therapy skills. And some companies, if you're thinking, oh, okay, Emma, this sounds interesting, check out Breotics, ATI, and you can do this on your own. So this could be the side hustle on your own, where you say Christina's having some neck pain or back pain. Well, hey, I can do an telehealth ergonomic visit for you, Christina, and we can talk about your setup. Maybe we need to change your chair. Maybe we need to change your sitting posture. We do that. Or you could work with one of these companies. So that's a tidbit on ergonomics.
That's a beautiful span of different things in one small little faction, if you think about that, of the many things that we do. And it still encompasses assessment and observation skills, that we do with our patients. So it really is a beautiful role. And it sounds like Amy there, from what I can see from the chat, was really interested in that. So I'm so glad that you found that, Amy. And it really is a beautiful blend of the different things that we do.
I'm glad you like this one, Amy. You just made my day. I'm like a little flower, like unwilting right now. Like, yay, making me happy.
We need to do this class tonight, Emma. You know it.
I know. I needed it for my mental health. Thank you. Well, I'm so glad. Thank you, Christina, for coming on. You're just the bomb. You're the bomb. Okay. Health coaching and personal training.
Yes.
So this is another thing that all of you can do, and speech therapists too. Because health coaching, there's so much, it's not just about movement, but it's about mental health. It's about mindfulness, cognitive training. There's so many things. So I think this is amazing for speech therapists, for occupational therapist assistants, for PT therapist assistants, for PTs, for anyone listening. I think health coaching / personal training is amazing. I sort of lump them together. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to tell you guys too, as a speech pathologist, and I think any one of us can do this, but because of the cognitive aspect, and you mentioned that there, Emma, I have considered doing anxiety reduction coaching, which is a really, really awesome facet, and adding that to the list of services that I provide, augmenting everything else that I do with speech therapy in our practice. but this can be a really wonderful cash business that's private pay, that has no, real attachments. There's no insurance, as you've listed. So it's a really excellent class. Now, certifications are definitely like recommended, like for anxiety reduction or specific health coaching areas, but this can be a really great cash for profit business. So
yeah. And I love the fact that you mentioned that. Like, I think when we think health coaching, we think, oh, PT, like movement or something like that, but it spans that. There's so many niches to talk about. Like, you could be an expert working with people with autism, and then caregivers who have to work with people with autism, health coaching and caregiver training. So Christina's like the caregiver expert, caregiver training and support group expert. Anything you want to know on support groups, she is. I should have put that in here as like its own side hustle. I thought I was going to do that, and I didn't. I forgot. But we're going to talk about that. But all of this wraps in. So when you think like, just take out health coaching and just say, think coaching, and think, what are your clinical skills that you're passionate about, that you're an expert at? So like Mike is an expert with dementia. So he does a lot with caregiver training for people with dementia, and also just training itself with people with dementia. And so that is health coaching. Now, it could be a more therapy-like, billable, insurance-related service. So you sort of have to do, a fine line. And we get a lot of questions in the group about the scope of practice when it comes to health coaching and personal training. And so you do have to watch the scope of practice. But there's so many things like special needs, anxiety. The sky is the limit when it comes to the different type of coach you can be. So think beyond just movement for coaching. I love the fact you brought that up. And this is great. No extra education. The certifications can help you, like Christina said, where you can then say, hey, I'm a therapist or a therapist assistant, and I'm also certified in anxiety management, or any of those various different titles. And so no insurance. This is going to be cash based. Now you could flip this. If you did want to do insurance, some of this could be billable, but then you would have that more under your PT or your PTA hat, or your OT or your OTA hat. So it just depends on the scope of practice. There's that fine line. So easy to set up, minimal cost, like literally $10 website, $0 for social media. You can make your own logo for free on Canva, and you're up and running. You can have this be virtual or in person, so it's really flexible. And the nice thing about some of these that we're going to talk about is recurring clients. I'm going to tell you in a side hustle, this is huge, and Christina's nodding her head because this is really, really huge. In whatever you do, if you can find something where you get a client over and over again, and maybe it's not every day, maybe it's not every week, but it's maybe every month you see that client, it's going to make your life so easy, because you can get to 5 figures, to 6 figures, scalable so quickly, because you don't need to be finding a new person. Often a lot of healthcare clinics, why do they get to such a high value so soon? It's because you see the same person for 10 visits, 15 visits, 20 visits, and maybe they come back again. Well, you don't need that many people then to make a good income. Hopefully I'm making sense with that. Christina is a better speaker than me, so you want to say anything more about the scalability of having recurring clients?
Well, the thing about this is like you can scale it as large or as small as you want it. So a side hustle can be exactly that, or you can like really kind of mainstream that side hustle and make it your main hustle. So, it's all dependent upon how hard, big you want to grow it. If it's something you just want to enjoy and kind of milk for a while to understand it, I think that's actually kind of important to grow slow and then explode. Once you're really ready, you will know when you're ready to take on more as you get there, and as you feel more comfortable with more clientele. And then you may realize, and it's okay, because your journey can change that, hey, I'm really liking this as my main thing, or I really enjoy this as my side thing, but man, I can really see this getting bigger, and that's where your vision grows. And I think that's what's really cool about this. And it becomes refreshing. Because you start to kind of put your tentacles out, and you reach out to different things that you're sometimes at first outside of your comfort zone, right? I think a lot of people feel that way with like coaching or with personal training, because it involves education and teaching. Oh, I couldn't be an educator, but you have no idea how much you do it on a daily basis and what you can turn that really into.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And this is not just health coaching. Like Christina does this with her support groups. She has reoccurring support groups where people come in and she gets profit from that. Yep. And then at the same time, though, those people then become her patients. So this is where you can have a blend of so many things. Like, it's so cool, the skills that we have. It's amazing because we have a background that is stronger than other people that don't have a medical background. You can combine this with so many services. So you can literally, some of the students we have, they combine a therapy business with caregiver support business, with ergonomics. And so, if someone needs it, they have that service because you guys are medical professionals. You're therapists and therapist assistants. You have these skills already. It's empowering. You should be empowered that there's so many neat things you can do. Cool. Okay. Next one is telehealth or in-home therapy as your own business. So like what we've been talking about is similar to ergonomics, similar to health coaching. You can do a mobile practice. You can do a telehealth practice. Now, some of the cons here is that if you do want to do insurance, it's a little bit more upkeep. You have to, meet more regulations. You have to get more approvals. But you can also do this as cash-based, and there's so many people that are doing this very, very successfully as just cash-based. And what I recommend to people is start cash-based as you're working on insurance. There's no need to wait like all that time to wait for insurance. You can start earning something, get your foot in the water, and then build into a more insurance practice if that's what you want, or you can keep with cash. Sky's the limit here.
That's exactly what I did. I started with a cash-based business, and because it was kind of really blowing up and getting bigger with the speech therapy side of the business, and more competitive, because there are a lot more insurance-based SLP and rehab clinics around me. I said, well, I better get competitive and go that route. And truthfully and honestly, I went from, and Emma knows this, 2 visits a week to 25 visits a week, and it blew up. And it's wonderful because now the cash flow is different. So like I can take a week off and I can still see, more income coming through, my bank account, while I have my caregiver support group set up over here, and I've got my educational seminar set up over here, while I'm coaching at night. So here's like that multiple stream of income situation. Not that everyone has to do it that way, but that is just an example of what a divested business looks like, and that there are multiple facets to companies, and that it's not just a one stream of income. We are smart enough to know that insurance regulations change, that numbers change, and so therefore we have to get creative with what we do. There's no need to be afraid. It's just now it's a need of creativity, and to use that as a platform to spring off of, and that we have more skills than we realize, and we can really become valued in our communities, but also enjoy what we do and not worry about the cash flow. So
yes, exactly. Because it takes, when you start a business and you're doing insurance, unfortunately, you have to wait for the insurance to pay you. So there's like months you go without getting paid for that patient. So to have a pure insurance model, it's very frustrating, scary. You could get denied too. So there's a lot riding on it. So having the divested business that Christina says, which basically divested means, multifactorial. She's got a lot of, irons going on at the same time to keep the income flowing so that her business is steady and stable. And that's the amazing thing is as therapists and therapist assistants, we can have a more steady income than a lot of other people out there because of our medical skills, because we can pair ergonomics with telehealth or in-home therapy with maintenance slash wellness slash,
Mm.
you can call it personal training, you can call it maintenance, you can call it wellness, you can call it health coaching, but you can give them that. And I really, that's the neat thing about us finally having our own business, is the fact that instead of where a lot of places, they don't do anything once the patient leaves, you can. And that's where that reoccurring client comes in, because don't let them leave because their insurance is up. Keep them as a health coaching slash personal training or wellness, whatever, maintenance, whatever you want to call it, client, and do check-ins once a month. And that's going to give you that steady flow of patients and income. And that's also really going to give you the love, because I don't know about you, but when I, like, my patients, they like, it's like a family, we know each other and all of that. And when you spend like a year with someone, they really trust you, and they glow about you, they'll tell everyone about you. And so, building that family by having these recurring clients, you build that increased relationship. It'll help with the business as well. Okay, I did put it in. Oh, good. So this is what I'm talking about with Christina. She can talk. I'm going to let her talk more about this, but caregiver concierge company, there's so many things you can do with caregivers and with support groups. So I'm going to let Christina talk more about this side hustle.
And I'm going to talk about this in a way that talks a little bit about like what we do at Trinity Speech Therapy. And then I'm going to talk about it in the way that you can apply it perhaps to like a PT concierge and an OT concierge. And so some examples of each. So let me first begin by talking about the support group aspect. And you can kind of go into this. You can be an SLP, you can be an OT, you can be a PT. Pick a topic that you love and you're passionate about. Pick something that you really, or a population, a group, whether it's Parkinson's, stroke, prevention, okay, fall prevention. We talk about falls and fall prevention. I mean, I think all three disciplines could say something, or at least put together a PowerPoint and teach, whether it's a patient's group or a caregiver group. And I tend to do both. I can do a patient group for my Parkinson's group, or I can do a caregiver group for my caregivers. And I love the caregiver approach because that's what the support is about. You can support patients, but really lately, I think a lot of the evidence and research has focused now more on the caregivers and how much of a burden that is for them, and where do they put themselves? How do we help them? And so I have developed two in my community here in North Carolina for dementia and for Parkinson's disease. And so I have specialties in neurodegenerative diseases in both of those. And so I put a lot of my weight and focus in the patient and the caregiver side. And so I have PowerPoints, I have handouts, I have tangibles, I have some swag I bring from my company to give to my folks that I'm going to be seeing that night, whether it's patients or caregivers. And it really not only just provides the love and support that they need from me, the provider, but it also generates another stream of income. So I might be getting a client coming from that to my speech therapy practice. So there I have, my $150 caregiver evening. And then I now have a client that I'm going to be seeing 2 to 3 times a week, depending on their status. So you talk about a side hustle, and then that kind of can turn into another stream of income, which is insurance based. But however, there it is. It just is kind of like that revolving door. So then we talk about OTs. I know a COTA right now who's looking into getting into her own side hustle, who I think is trying to turn this now into a main, possibly eventually a main hustle, into more of a business. And she's going to be doing deliveries, delivering food and delivering medications and applying some of her COTA and OT skills to that. And she wants to perhaps be more of like a concierge driver, and bringing people around to their appointments, setting those folks up from the hospital. And I know Emma knows this person as well now. And I know the hardest thing is to jump, right? We always get scared to jump into these things, and we don't know the liability. We think, oh my gosh, what if something happens? Because I think our minds instantly go to the worst. But we need to start thinking more positively in how this can actually transform people's lives and what talent we have, and we can turn that into something. For PTs, fall prevention, you can do so many different things on that. I will just say that, over and over. LSVT Big, that's another awesome program. So if you're a Parkinson's person or a neurological specialist in your field as a PT, there are so many different topics you can focus on. BPVN, the vertigo and the dizziness, those are great areas for benign vertigo and those kinds of things. And the crystals, I know a lot of PTs that love doing and performing clinical work on that. And I'm like, you need to turn that into some education. You guys can work with audiologists and speech pathologists and all these different professions and tying us all in. And excuse me for getting excited, but this just gets me so like jacked up because I get so excited thinking about how much we can all work together to make this whole, holistic health wellness idea come together. And we have more people thinking like this. I think the better our communities are going to be, the more valued our, rehabilitative and, world of therapy will be. And so again, you can do so much with various educational topics. And of course, caregiver training and support groups. Again, I always toot that horn. They're fantastic. They're supportive. They're a cash-based stream of income. And gosh knows if you can get enough, if you can get 4 in a week, that could be a main hustle. You could be the guru of that alone. And I say that smiling and laughing, but I know that is actually something that someone can really do. Education is something I love. I know Mike loves and Emma loves. We all kind of love it on a different level, in many levels. And I think it's something that we need to really now get paid for, as people who have done it constantly within our profession. But how do we now make this a side hustle? So
yes, I love that. And with side hustles too. And thank you for everyone sticking with us. We've got a couple more slides. You guys are doing great. And we're going to get into in a couple more slides, side hustles that you can do with companies as well. But, it only takes a couple clients to have an amazing side hustle. It's like what Christina said, it really only takes 1 or 2 caregiver support groups that are just 1 or 2 hours, and you've got a great earning for that week. And so it can be intimidating thinking about it, but just think 1 client and then 2 clients, and it'll really snowball into something amazing. And just start small, and really start small too, because I think that's a way to feel less like it's a risk. Yes. Just try to get 1 client. Don't try to get, forget about everyone tooting their horn at 6 figures or whatever. Just get first client, learn, make the best from that client, and then grow from there. And it's a great way for you to see if you like this avenue. And like what we talked about, you can pivot. You don't like caregiver support groups, you want to do telehealth, you want to do ergonomics. This is why we made this presentation, is because there's, as you can see, lots of different things, different niches, different skills, different ways to address those skills that you can do. You have so many neat things and neat talents. Home modifications. So this is a really great one. And so this is something that all of you listening can do as well. You can do home modifications. Once again, you don't need any extra education, although the certification is really recommended. And I don't feel like I got any home modification education, so I would really need the certification if I was to move forward with this. And there's a great one from USC, does a certification, and oh goodness, I'm blanking on the other home modification certification. Let me look that up for you guys. It's CAPS. Duh. Thank you. It's CAPS. So that's the other certification, is CAPS, Certified Aging in Place Specialist. CAPS. Those are the 2 certifications that you can get. USC has one, and then CAPS. I think CAPS they're both very good and different. I think CAPS helps you a little bit more with finding clients. So I maybe lean towards that one. Pros, you get to help people, just like with all the other avenues we've talked about. You're helping people feel like they can live life in their home. It's a great additional service to add on to all the services we've talked about. So you can add on your ergonomics, and ergonomics and home modifications are really sort of interestingly similar, but it's something that flows really well with all of your therapy skills. And it's something you can do on the side, and it's low cost to start. So I think that's another interesting route to go into. This, not too many companies hire home modification specialists, so this is something a little bit more to do on your own. Okay, e-commerce. So I am not the e-commerce pro, but Jacob, he's a friend of mine. He's a PT. I've worked with him. I actually created his website. He is doing amazing on Amazon, and he's creating sort of like his little Amazon PT equipment shop. So he's got knee sleeves, the back brace, a massage cream he sells, ankle sleeves, and he's now branching into reachers and other assistive devices, walkers, things like that. So he's basically setting up his own little DME shop. It's really neat. And
I really think this could be a venture for OTs too, like because OTs have like it all down with like adaptive equipment between like plates, spoons. You guys can get really creative. OTs and COTAs could really take a handle of e-commerce and work. Basically, it's like working with different like vendors and different companies and streaming in those vendors into, basically it's kind of like percentages of everything, right? Everyone makes a little bit of the pie, where you're kind of making a bigger chunk by being that vendor or being that particular website that people go to. So I'm not the expert in this either, but I know a lot of people that do this. Not only as therapists, but as other things, they've toilet paper to makeup to beauty, products and all kinds of things. It is a worldwide portal of everything, a hodgepodge of everything. But if you're going to funnel it more and think about it more in the line of therapy, there are so many different adaptive equipment, assistive devices and things that people can use for that reason.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. So I've looked into this because I come up with like crazy ideas all the time. I will say the one con of this is it is much more of an expense compared to the other things we've mentioned, unfortunately. So with e-commerce, you need to, of course, set up your LLC, just like all the other things we've talked about. But you have to deal with sort of shipping, deal with someone to create the product. So Jacobs has had to spend sort of 10 plus thousands of dollars because these manufacturers really want you to sort of order a certain number of units or create a certain number of units. And so, he's had to say, okay, make me 100 of this, 100 of this, 100 of this. And then giving that creator, that sort of manufacturer that, and then they create the product. So there's a lot of back and forth. But I mean, the neat thing is you can, make something that's innovative. And it doesn't have to be something that's not out there yet. But when I'm listening to this e-commerce expert, he's sort of an Amazon guru. And basically what he suggests is you find a product that you really love, but you can do it better. And then you pick that product and you talk with the manufacturers and you find someone who can do that thing that you think will make that product better. And then you move forward from there. So it's a really neat thing. It's more expensive, more, upfront costs with this, but I wanted to put it because, I'm not hiding anything. I want to show you guys some of the variety of different things out there and let you choose. Education is the next one. And I think we got a comment here. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yep. Affiliate marketing. So Amy, we're going to talk, I think the last slide. So in about 3 slides, I talk more about affiliate marketing. And if you're listening to this and you're going, none of these really fit in, affiliate marketing is actually how I got started. And it's how a lot of people get started because it's sort of the least barrier to entry. You don't even need a website. You can just like post, MedBridge links, or you could post our affiliate link. You could post that and share that with people, and that, earn affiliate income. And you don't even need a website. You don't even need anything. And then you can grow that into like a blog, like My OT Spot. We're working with them, and she's got a whole website and she doesn't sell anything. It's all affiliates. And she's about to basically go full time with her blog. And so there's affiliates is a great thing. But
I could talk all day. Maybe I blog like I blog outwardly, like even in my talk, and I should start putting that into a website. I think
have to be recorded constantly.
Oh, it's actually really amazing. It's kind of like podcasting, how people have made also money off of even just podcasting and, in keeping their, not only their marketing scheme in that, because again, that's part of affiliate marketing, but podcasting is another great way that you can actually do education, but you can also make a profit off of that. And there's no insurance, is nothing really required. I think me and Emma might start one at some point.
Yes, yes. We're definitely, I just need to find some random time somewhere, but yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm create a time machine with my e-commerce business and then we'll start the podcast.
Sounds perfect.
But education, so education is something that, is a great little side hustle. MedBridge and Summit, they take educators all the time. So you can, approach MedBridge or Summit. Now, they do typically want someone with more like 10 plus years of experience. Like I went to them before, working with alternative healthcare careers, and I was a bit younger, and they really didn't, pay me any attention. But you can go to these companies and say, hey, I've got this amazing, idea or topic or course that I want to, would you want to partner with me on a CU? And they can, maybe partner with you on that. And you'll typically be paid. Some companies do it, per watch. So sort of they'll track how many people buy your course that month or that year and then pay you out. Or some people will pay, yep, we'll give you $500 flat. And then, they own your course. So think about that too. If you're doing this, how you would approach negotiation for your course. But you can do that with courses, or you can do clinical mentorship. So more and more EMR companies are wanting people to help them mentor their users. Recruiting companies, travel companies, for example, traveling therapy companies, they are hiring more therapists, yes, for being travelers, but also to be mentors. And I know therapists that started out as travelers within a company and now is their mentor. And oh goodness, what company is it? They have a speech therapist that's their mentor. And so there's lots of different ways to mentor for these different companies. Luna, I'm trying to convince Luna that I think they need a clinical mentor as well. Yeah. So lots more of these companies are going to realize that they need clinical mentors if they are going to have therapists and therapist assistants and make sure that they're delivering optimum care. So I think this is a route to really keep your eye open. And if you're working with companies like travel companies or any sort of company, and you feel like there's an avenue for that, approach them and say, hey, I think your business could do so much better if you had a clinical mentor. I think people would really want to sign up for your company more if you had that clinical mentor. That's what I've done with a couple travel companies.
I will tell you now too, a lot more private companies will be more open because I think they want to become more competitive, and they might be trying to emulate more of a corporate infrastructure. Corporate companies are harder to get in with this, just clairvoyancy. And I've tried to do this before with corporate. I feel like they are not really willing to throw that money out there, but the private companies I think are a great route to trial this with. Talk to any one of us about pricing. I mean, both Emma and I have experience with this, and we can help you with that. But it's a great avenue. Great cash flow. Yes.
And like I said, schools, so adjunct faculty too. You could look into adjunct faculty. You can do this on your own. For example, I've created an ergonomics certification. Our utilization reviewer course has CUs within it too. And it's really neat because there's not any other utilization review course out there that has CEUs. So I'm super proud of that. And so you can really do so many amazing things. Thank you. But yep, salary varies, sometimes commission based. So just that's one negative. What's a pro and a con is the commission base. Right. Okay, you guys are doing great. You're hanging in there. We got 3 more slides. Let me see in the chat here. Yes. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So now we're talking about, now we're going to go into several things within companies. So I know some of you may be saying, I love this. Thank you for putting out all these side hustles that I can do as my own business, but I just don't know if I'm ready to dip my toe into that yet. What can I do to earn me some extra cash, maybe pay off my student loans a little bit easier without having to create my own business? So You can do telehealth and in-home therapy within companies. So all the same things we talked about, everyone listening can do this, no extra education. The pay for most of these companies is around $40 to $75. And we talked about Luna the other day for PTs. Now for SLPs and OTs, a good company that's similar would be Presence Learning. And I have a video on that if anyone's interested, but Presence Learning is, I believe they only do telehealth. I have to sort of speak with them directly to get all that exact facts. I've done my due diligence with the company, but sometimes hard to tell. I believe they only do telehealth and they're focusing on schools. So, but Presence Learning is a great side hustle for therapists, for speech therapists and OTs. Talk to them if assistants can do it. I'm not sure. And unfortunately, Luna right now is not accepting any assistance. Okay, two more. Teaching English as a second language. So a lot of people post this sometimes in the group, and you all can do this as well. No extra education, no extra costs or anything like that. This pays a lot less. So if you're going to do it, it's only like $14 to $18 I found. So if you're going to do it, go Luna, go Presence Learning, go something like that where you can pay your, you get paid a clinical salary. But you of course could do teaching English as a second language. One company is VIP Kids. There's a lot of different companies out there too, but that's just one company. And I don't get any like perks from that. That's just one company that I've seen a lot in the group. And then lastly is like we pointed to a little bit, you can do courses, you can do affiliate marketing, you can do blogging. Anyone can do this. You can do it right now. Super cheap to start. Affiliate marketing is a great way to get into it. I will tell you, and Amy knows because she was here early where she saw me talk a little bit about all the drama that sometimes happens. So, this is the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this can be great, but it also can be really drama filled. This year's been a super tough year for me. I feel like I literally talk to my husband all the time and I'm like, I want to quit. I'm going to quit. I want to quit. And it's just a lot. It's a lot to handle everyone's expectations. You want to help people and it's hard to help people. There's only, you want to try to give the best and there's only so much time in the day. There's a lot of hate on social media, but there's also a lot of love on social media, like everyone that's come out tonight to listen. So there's the good and the bad. Yes. And so that's the pros and cons with this. And it's sometimes slow. Like I talked a little bit before we got on live about a friend who started trying to teach burnout and she was making nothing for a year and a half and pivoted. Myself, debt-free PT, I started that. That was my initial side hustle. And I was really trying to help people. And even though you try, as much as they say, oh, just go in it for helping people, eventually you do need to make some money, especially if, your husband's eating alone at night and you are instead taking a phone call for an hour after work. Sometimes you just need to get paid for what you're doing. And it took a long time and we pivoted into alternative healthcare careers. So this can be a very slow burn. Sometimes it can be an amazing fast burn, depends on your topic, depends on, how good of a marketer you are, all of that. But that's sort of the good and the bad. Christina, anything to add to that?
No, I hear that. And I think when I was actually starting my business a year ago and working full time and starting my business and trying to get all of those pots on the, on the stove and getting one pot boiling, one pot was boiling over. And then I felt like my career was boiling over. I felt like, okay, I've got to at some point say no. And I want each and every one of you to hear this, including myself, because I consider myself as part of this group. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say enough is enough with certain things and to draw the line and to draw healthy barriers and healthy boundaries really for yourself. I think as a business owner, it's a very hard thing to do because you want to help everyone, as Emma said, and you really want to put yourself out there and you want, the best outcome for the people that you serve, whether they're clients, whether they're, people that you coach. It could be in your main hustle, your side hustle. But I mean, the biggest thing that I can say to that is that, you are in control of you and they're in control of them. And sometimes they feel out of control and sometimes they put that in your lap. And you can either take it and personalize it, or you can take it and say, I understand where you are. I'm sorry for that, but here's my boundary, and it's okay to do that. It's okay to lay those boundaries down. And I think that is a big learning curve for me. I'm a person that wears my heart on my sleeve. I really want people to love my work and love that I'm helping them, and know that I am, because I do it with all my heart and all my existence. I do that with my family to my work. However, I have learned that not everyone's going to love me or love what I do. Perhaps that's something that, I have to also swallow myself. It's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but that's okay. People are going to act the way that they're going to act, and you have no control over that. So all you can do is, keep yourself moving in the right direction and continue to do what you're doing, and pivot, create a side hustle, do something different that's going to continue to keep you motivated and moving. So that's what I have to say about that. And I think we have a question down here.
Yes. And some on Facebook, I think. So let me hop into Facebook here and see. And thank you so much. Hey, Carrie, thanks so much for watching, Carrie. I appreciate it. I don't know if I see any other chat. I'll refresh this, see if we have any other questions. So, right now we've got people live. So if you guys have particular questions, this is the great time. Like, we want to try to help you personally with this. And, we have a healthcare business course as well. So if any of you are, getting inspired by, the advice or the ideas that we've given you, this is a lot of the stuff that we teach in that course. And you can just simply put in the chat, or you can email me. I'll put my email here, info@alternativehealthcarecareers.com. And you can email me any questions too. If you don't feel comfortable asking them on the live, you can email me, and I always will personally answer them as well. But I think that there's so many amazing ideas here. And we are starting round 2 of the healthcare business course. And we're going to do a wait list, and everyone on the wait list is going to get 30% off when we do launch. So if you do want to be on that wait list, just let us know. But any questions you guys have about anything, like Amy, do you have any more questions about ergonomics? Oh, awesome. I'm so glad. Thank you for coming on. Yeah, look into it. Look into ergo.
Thank you, guys.
Look into any of those topics. And if there's any questions you have, and if you do want to do our ergo cert, just let me know, Amy. And I'll give you 20% off. Just hit me up on the DMs or anything like that. And yep, and awesome. There's Christina's email too, if you have any questions for her.
Questions about Trinity or about divestments or support groups or whatever. Even if you just want to say, hey, I love the idea you had about the anxiety reduction class. I mean, that everybody seems to need that right now. I'd love to talk about it.
I know. Can you do one live right now, Christina?
We can. Oh, I totally
hey, Teresa,
could do
yeah,
that.
you can definitely view the slides. Yeah, I will really garbled. Oh no, did anyone else have trouble listening? I will email them out to you guys later on this week, so that way everyone can get the slides.
I'm so glad that you all came tonight. This was great. I know we were kind of wondering, how our turnout would be, but this is a great class. And I think that this could expand, and like we've been talking about, we're going to do hopefully some more promos for the promos, and helping you guys understand more about what these classes are about. So you know what you're signing up for. And then of course, our preparatory work that goes into it, where we talk about everything. But I love how this is chat discussive. I think this helps you guys. It helps us understand what the needs are too of our group. So excited to have you all here. Thank you for coming.
Yes. And Alicia's got a question here. So Alicia says, I'm trying to figure out how to market myself to assisted living facilities and senior centers. Any ideas? Oh, well, Christina is your expert right there. I'm going to let her answer that question.
Yes. Okay, so a couple of ways to do that. And so glad you asked that question, because this is a great one. so part of my business is an outpatient, and the other side is in senior living, specifically in assisted living. So it's a great question. Assisted living, the networking events that you can do in your community, you need to find out through your aging life and or community programs that you have. So in our town in North Carolina, we have Cary Senior Center. So your senior centers can actually do a lot of marketing right there for you about the upcoming events, whether they're on Zoom or in person because of COVID. Some of them have been a little bit more restrictive. So with that said, you definitely want to sign up, whether it's in person. I think that the in-person actually does go over a little bit better because people see you, they have a contact, they get to know you a little bit more. So if you can get on any one of those networking events within your community, some of them do big senior living networking events. They'll host those like once a year, twice a year. There might be something smaller in your community, whether it's county-based or it's, it could be even regionally. So you want to get involved with that. You want to also put some of your marketing materials out in the senior living center. So if you're trying to get into those areas, you want to talk to the right people, get into those senior living buildings, get in touch with your executive directors, get in touch with your RCCs, also start talking to the marketing people within those buildings. So your marketing directors are going to be huge. Have them give you a tour of the facility and talk a little bit more about what you're able to do versus, perhaps what some of these larger companies are doing. So what I like to do is get in with those marketing people, talk about my product and what I'm more capable of. And of course, get in there and speak more about, the individual programming I can do for that particular company. What kinds of needs does the building have, and specializing and focusing on that. They know that you're taking the time with them and making that very specific. So I think the more specific and detailed you are as a practice owner and or person who's coming in individually as a contract, the better it's going to be for you.
Definitely. Yeah. Get out there and network.
Yes.
Go and talk to do like a free talk at the library. And it's tough with COVID. I think it's been tough to network with COVID,
Definitely.
but at the free library, you can do a lot of things there. The teaming up with the fire station, sometimes the police station, sometimes there's a lot of, there was a person I was talking to from San Diego, and she was neuro balance expert. And she did a lot with the fire department and the police department, and they were like her go-to person. So, there's a lot you can do with building the community. If you build within your community, like a lot of people want to go global and go online, and that's great because you can help people so much. But on the reverse, look at your community.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hopefully that helped. Let me see if we got any other questions. Oh, great advice. Awesome. I'm a COTA health coach and group fitness instructor. Oh, girl, you got it set, Alicia. Like, that's awesome. You've got all the degrees and certs. Now you just got to go out there and build that business. Awesome. Trying to start for about a year. Well, if you need any more help, you just let us know. You can message Christina. You can message myself. We'll be happy to help. Awesome. Okay. Any last questions before we go? We are happy to answer them. Go in once. Go in twice. Awesome. Well, if you guys do want to have any questions, just let us know. My email is info@alternativehealthcarecareers.com. Thank you. And if you do want to sign up for our Healthcare Business Challenge waitlist, just let me know. We'll give you 30% off when it does come live. And there's no, you don't have to commit. You're just saying, oh, I'm interested. So just let us know as well as that. And thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone coming on here. You've made my day, and we'll see you in our next webinar. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. We'll see you soon, I'm sure.